Morning before coming to the office, I had a sick call in a way, a visit to a home for the elderly because a friend of mine requested me to visit this elderly nun. She was in bed and it was kind of a special day for her because today is her birthday. So the gift of this friend of mine to her and her husband, was the priest, for her to be able to hear confession and be anointed, and also obviously the Holy Eucharist, and it was very precious, because again, at first, you might say that with this elderly, sickly nun, that we cannot help, human as we are, to have pity. But at the same time, these times, these opportunities that I have in my ministry as a priest, to me is also a great blessing, because you see this sickly and elderly nun, or any patient for that matter, but I can really see their faces, in their faces, that peace, that serenity, that joy. To think that they are supposed to be miserable, but at the same time, you are just touched by their great faith and love for God, and they are at peace with their supposedly miserable situation. And to me, it's very important and very touching, especially if we connect the celebration of today, Our Lady of Sorrows, following yesterday's feast, about the triumph and the victory of the cross. And I've shared about the challenge, the difficulty, and in many instances the weaknesses that we have, how to find joy and peace in all this mystery and reality of the cross that we are supposed to embrace as followers of Christ in the concrete, those challenging and difficult and trying situations of our life. And we call this feast or memorial as the Sorrows. Our Lady of Sorrows, to commemorate the 7 sorrows of the Blessed Mother. From Eileen has mastered this, in the presentation, in the flight to Egypt, and the temple, finding the child, and of course the passion and death, and eventually the burial of Jesus, with the Blessed Mother. And why the Blessed Mother was there? It was supposed to be sorrowful, but at the same time, those were also moments of grace, of blessing, of redemption, so concrete, in the life of Mary, and in the crucifixion scene, for example, of John and the other women. Yes, they were in sorrow, but because of their faith and above all fidelity to the Lord. And why they were faithful and they stayed there, remaining firm in their faith in Him. Why? Because of their great love for Him, and having experienced, in themselves, that great love of the Lord for them. And I would like to say, and if we really reflect deeply into the mystery of the cross, and I've shared that we admire the saints, that in the midst of their trials and difficulties, they endure all this. It's really because of their love for the Lord. and having experienced that love of the Lord in their hearts. Because it would not, and it will never make sense for us to say that we find joy in suffering and in sorrow if we do not have that love. And precisely these saints and this sick nun, for example, that I visited this morning, because to her, the love of God in her heart is so real and complete. It became a reality that her miserable situation was kind of being transcended, that renewed spirit, so with so much faith and hope and love in her heart. And we pray for that, because again, that's the only way to salvation and the sacred joy of happiness. And may the Lord guide us with the intercession of the Blessed Mother in each and every one of us. Amen.